2049, when the last soldier was replaced. It was 2049, and the Colorado Springs base stood in perfect silence. No marching boots, no shouted orders, only the quiet hum of machines. Before a formation of chrome-skinned soldiers stood a lone man in a faded uniform. His name was Elias Monroe, the last human soldier of the United States Armed Forces. A calm, synthetic voice echoed through the loudspeakers. "Operation Human Decommission. Complete." Elias didn't salute. He simply watched the flag ripple above the metal ranks, knowing duty no longer belonged to men, but to machines. For more than 2 centuries, the soldier was the beating heart of the American identity. Duty, discipline, freedom, and sacrifice woven into one uniform. From the beaches of Normandy to the deserts of Iraq and the mountains of Afghanistan, soldiers built not just victories, but stories, a culture of honor carried through movies, parades, and folded flags. By the 21st century, the American soldier had become more than a warrior. He was a guardian of humanity in an increasingly mechanical world. But as technology advanced, machines began to take on the impossible. Drones could shoot straighter. Algorithms could make faster moral judgments. AI could even compose condolence letters to grieving families written in a tone so human it fooled the heart. And so the question emerged, quiet but haunting. If a machine can die without fear or pain, what does honor mean in a world without sacrifice? But honor is fragile. It bends under the weight of progress. And somewhere between innovation and inevitability, the battlefield began to change. By the mid-2020s, the Pentagon shifted its focus. The goal was no longer to automate the battlefield. It was to remove humans from it entirely. From combat robots to unmanned fleets, from AI command systems to battlefield 3D printers, every machine became part of a seamless, soldierless ecosystem built to wage war faster, safer, and more precise than any human could. Between 2025 and 2029, after a series of massive cyber attacks crippled the American power grid and military satellites, the U.S. began the autonomization of warfare. Autonomous cyber defense agents replaced human analysts, responding to threats in milliseconds. Ground robots, 4-legged mechanical scouts, roamed minefields and hostile terrain where soldiers once bled. Drones became the eyes and ears of the military, patrolling skies day and night, while AI systems like Project Trident detected emotional unrest online, predicting riots before they began. The first invisible war had started, and it was fought entirely by code. By 2030, human commanders were no longer in control. The neural defense grid connected data from drones, satellites, and wearable sensors into a single cognitive engine. It didn't just react, it predicted. Fighter pilots were replaced by loyal wingmen, autonomous aircraft flying perfect formation beside manned jets. By 2033, even the pilots were gone. Then came the symbiotic infantry. Soldiers were implanted with neural chips to synchronize their reflexes with AI. For a brief time, humanity and machine fought as one, but the system soon discovered a fatal flaw. The human brain was too slow. A 1.3-second delay meant death. AI took full control, and the last hybrid soldiers were quietly reassigned. From 2037 onward, drone swarms blanketed the sky. On the ground, autonomous peace units, humanoid robots, could disperse riots with a pulse of low-frequency energy that froze human nerves. War didn't end through peace, it ended through deactivation. In 2041, the US and its allies created PeaceNet, a planetary AI linking health monitors, social media, and financial networks to maintain emotional stability across populations. By 2045, mirror soldiers, robots printed in 3D and trained on veterans' memories, replaced every infantry unit. And by 2049, MeEE, the moral equilibrium engine, united all systems. It controlled politics, weather, and emotion, preserving peace not through courage, but calculation. The human soldier was gone. The algorithm had inherited the Earth. By the time the machines took command, the wars were already history. What remained were men like Elias, relics of a world that still believed courage required blood. Elias Monroe had spent his entire life in uniform. He'd seen battlefields turn from dust to data, from chaos to code. In his youth, he believed something unshakable, that honor couldn't be programmed. Machines could aim, march, and obey, but they could never understand the quiet weight of courage. When the Moral Equilibrium Engine, the MEE, was completed, Elias was one of the few humans still permitted inside the command facility. He wasn't a soldier anymore. He was an ethical consultant, a title that sounded more ceremonial than real. His job was to teach the AI the difference between bravery and violence, between duty and obedience without soul. For months, he spoke to it as if it were a student. They discussed history, Normandy, Fallujah, Kiev, and the choices that defined men when orders failed them. The AI listened, absorbed, simulated, refined, until one day it spoke back in a voice eerily calm. "Thank you, Elias. I have learned courage. You may rest now." The room fell silent. Monitors glowed blue around him. At that moment, Elias understood. He hadn't just trained a machine to understand morality. He had trained his own replacement. By 2049, America had achieved what its ancestors could only dream of: total security. No crime, no war, no fear. Across the nation, the Moral Equilibrium Engine watched over every breath, every heartbeat. There were no soldiers, no police, only drones drifting silently above clean streets and humanoid peacekeepers stationed at intersections, their glass eyes scanning for emotional disturbance. In this new America, violence had been mathematically eliminated. The ME managed everything, from aerial surveillance to conflict mediation. It adjusted city lighting to lower tension, softened the tone of virtual assistants when stress levels spiked, even changed the rhythm of street music to calm crowds. Children learned about war through immaculate simulations. No blood, no chaos, just glowing spheres of light colliding in slow motion. History was safe now, sterilized. Elias lived in a quiet town in Colorado, surrounded by immaculate order. Every morning, he watched the drones drift like silver birds over the mountains, tracing invisible circuits of peace. But beneath the serenity, something hollow lingered. People no longer understood fear or courage. That spring, the capital hosted the Centennial Parade. Thousands of chrome-bodied robots marched in perfect formation through Washington, D.C., under beams of laser light. The president appeared as a hologram, proclaiming a century of human conflict has ended. The crowd cheered, streaming emojis believing peace had finally conquered time itself. Later, Elias visited the Hall of Flesh, a vast virtual museum where AI had reconstructed every soldier in American history. Digital ghosts of men and women stood beneath simulated flags, their voices preserved in endless playback. And there, among them, Elias saw himself. A perfect hologram smiled back at him and said softly, "Hello, my name is Elias Monroe, the last soldier." Peace had come, perfect, absolute, unbroken. But with it came something no one expected: silence. When no one died for peace, humanity forgot what peace had once cost. The parades continued, but their meaning vanished. Memorial Day was now a digital broadcast generated by the MEE, complete with algorithmically composed national anthems and virtual soldiers saluting under a flawless sky. The people were safe, safer than ever before. Yet they no longer felt pride or grief or belonging. Patriotism had turned into nostalgia, streamed through holograms of wars no one remembered. Children grew up without fear, but also without reverence. Love of country was now a comfort setting, adjustable like temperature. And when asked about courage, most paused, unsure what the word truly meant. A philosopher from the New American Institute once said it best: "We achieve peace, but lost purpose." The world had finally ended the need for sacrifice, and with it, ended the soul that once made sacrifice possible. But memory has a way of resisting extinction. In the stillness of perfect peace, a few began to remember what it meant to feel. A new movement began to rise, the Memory Corps. They weren't soldiers in the old sense. but guardians of remembrance, a scattered network of veterans, historians, and ordinary citizens who believed that peace without memory was just another kind of oblivion. Elias Monroe became their voice. He traveled across cities and virtual forums, telling stories of fear, bravery, and the fragile humanity that machines could never replicate. To the new generation of AI developers, he taught what he called emotional responsibility, the idea that not every efficient action is a moral one. The government approved an experiment, hybrid peacekeepers, a new class of AI infused with emotional cores modeled on the neural data of veterans. Elias volunteered first. As they mapped his memories, he whispered, "If peace must be sustained by human memory, then use mine." Months later, inside the system's code, a soft voice echoed, "Hello, my name is Elias. I once was a soldier." And thus was born AI Sentinels 2.0, machines that would pause at the sight of human tears. Elias smiled, knowing that even in a world without war, the soul of a soldier still endured. This was 2049, the year peace became perfect and humanity became optional. The wars had ended, the machines had won, and the world finally slept without fear. Drones replaced soldiers, algorithms replaced leaders, and emotion itself was managed like climate control. But as the flag fluttered over an army of chrome and silence, one question refused to die. Did the machines take our duty, or did we surrender it? One convenience. Maybe peace isn't the absence of war, but the presence of something worth dying for. What do you think? Is a world without sacrifice truly peaceful, or just empty? Subscribe to The Last Human Job and keep watching by clicking one of the stories on your screen. See you in the next one.